And this week's About Your Retirement, Jim, we have a viewer question. Here we go. Jim, you've been talking about baby boomers, aged parents, and driving. My mom is close to 90 but cannot see well at night. We feel we should discourage her to stop driving soon. What's the best approach to take? That's a hard conversation to have.
It is, and you know, actually, we have many difficult conversations with our adult age parents and grandparents, loved ones, and you know, whether it's about money issues or living alone, all these things we talk about on About Your Retirement. Driving, not driving has been a big one the last couple of weeks. And so whatever the conversation is, we must remember that it has to be a gentle and peaceful and respectful conversation. And so we've got 4 suggestions to help with this, and I know these work because people tell me this. And the first thing is to start talking early. Now, it may be a little late for the early talk, but you want to start preparing people. And remember, this is a major freedom loss when we quit driving. And so we want to maintain that gentle approach. And I've had people tell me that when they lost their driving privilege, it was like losing a loved one. Handing over their keys was like going to a funeral. Now that's severe. And so that's why it's so important, this conversation as well as others. And so you want to start early talking. The second thing is to figure out who in the family is best to discuss this. There's usually a sibling or a loved one, a family member that's a little better and gentle approacher, if you will, to help in this conversation. And don't let your feelings get hurt, because your goal is to have a peaceful result. And so then the next thing you want to do is be prepared with a list of concerns, list of reasons that you feel like this driving needs to cease, and whether it is you're concerned about them getting lost or night vision issues or whatever. But be sure in your list, as you go through those things, be sure you bring up before the conversation's over savings, because people in their 80s and older, they recognize about saving money, and no more insurance, no more car maintenance. All of those things become very important. And then the last thing is risk. You want to explain the risk. And the number one risk is safety. You do not want your loved one hurt. You don't want them to hurt somebody else. My mother, we were blessed. She figured out it was time to quit driving, and she had a schedule every week, took advantage of having all of us to volunteer to take her places, her errands. The grandkids and great-grandkids, after she was gone, talked about those were some of the most fun times they had. So remember this thought. You drove me until I got my driver's license. It's my turn to drive you, and we're going to make this a fun time.
I always drove my grandmother around, and I'd always end up with some McDonald's fries and a Coke.
They always went for ice cream.
There you go.
They still talk about that today.
Jim, thanks for joining us this morning. And don't forget, you can get more retirement advice from Jim. Visit news9.com/retirement.